is In the Shadows Podcast. Lots of cigar talk, but if it's going on in the world, we'll be talking about that too. And by the way, the fellows don't shy away from controversial topics. Trust me. So grab that stick, kick back with your favorite drink, and let's do the thing. This is the In the Shadows Podcast. Now your hosts, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Shadow Smokes Legion In the Shadow Podcast. I'm your host, Tony the Soy Sauce Assassin. Today we also have Eric, Smoke White if you have one, and Senpapi Rick, who still try to be famous. Like one day we'll be like he's no longer trying.
Yeah.
But right now he's still trying.
One day.
Right. So if you already listened to our previous podcast, we talked about the cigar regions, right? So let's talk about, something Rick really want to talk about. Let's talk about cigar colors. Right?
Yeah.
So that he can actually know what the hell the cigar colors are about.
Didn't we touch up on that before?
We did touch upon that, but then we didn't go deep into it. So let's talk about the information behind it, right, today, and to see what the difference our information have, right? Because everybody knows cigar differently, and a lot of us knows a piece of something, might not know the whole thing, right? But once we start talking about it, I think that kind of puts the information as a whole for the listeners to put that in perspective. Okay, So let's go from the lightest color all the way to the darkest color, name and characteristic and why and all that stuff. Put it together for everybody today.
So white is the
white. It's a piece of paper. Do not smoke that. All right. So start with the lightest color, which is Rick's favorite, Candela.
Yeah, that's from Canada.
All right, so let's start with Rick. What do you know about Candela?
Candela, I know it was something that was used a lot back in the days when cigars were, I guess, before it was like manufactured how it is now. But when you see a lot of old school movies in like the 20s, the black and white, you can't really, obviously can't tell the colors because it's black and white, but you will see that people who were around that time period would talk about they always smoke Candelas. And those are grown rapidly, those are farmed rapidly because it's at its earliest stage. It's not really fermented, so they're green.
Okay, Eric, what do you know about this particular wrapper?
All I know is you only smoke in St. Patty days. That's like the best way to do it.
Okay, that's all you know. All right, so let's give a little bit information on that. Right, Candela is also known as double Colero. So it's actually the name is actually Colero. All right, so that's before cigars are fermented. So Candela is just cured. It's not fermented. It goes through this process that heats up the leaf for 3 days. And so it's done in 3 days in compared to all the other wrappers go through the fermentation and all that stuff. So you get just the leaf. So it's green. It doesn't go through the fermentation. So it still have that color and everything because all it does is basically just think of like somebody took a leaf and just put it in the oven for 3 days.
Okay, right? That's a really short amount of time.
That's why. But back in the days, tobacco are cheap. They don't go through a lot of things. So 3 days is a lot of time already. It's like, hey, 3 days, gotta get it out there. But what we also notice that is that today's smoker think that Candela itself is not give enough of a flavor. That if you look at your Candela cigar, it's the wrapper that's green, but insides are usually at least a Habano or Maduro color filler.
Oh yeah,
they have to complement with some flavor because itself is like a leafy taste. It's not really
like imagine having a Candela Puro. That would be something.
Let's go outside and bite grass.
Yeah, literally all you gotta taste is just burnt grass. It's not gonna be a very good cigar. So
let's smoke a salad.
It doesn't really taste that good, hence why we only smoke it during the St. Patty's Day, and often it's in a barber pole or a mixture of some other tobacco filler that's not just pure Candela. So because it doesn't taste that good. Okay, so the next one is Connecticut shade, right? And that's like a very common one. So what do you guys know about that? Let's start with Eric this time.
Connecticut shade usually grown and fermented less. I believe that. And yeah, it's pretty much, that's all I know. Like the way they did it is they grow in the shade so it doesn't get too oily and stuff like that. And when they fermented it, they they fermented it for a lesser time, so it keep the lighter shade. But then I don't know, does it change the nicotine level on it or not?
Okay. There's something to it, but we'll get to it. Rick, what do you think? What's your knowledge on Connecticut?
Well, to touch on the nicotine part, I was told because of the lighter shade, the potency is a little bit lessened, which is why people recommend that be your first cigar or your last cigar of the day. And, typically the nicotine shades are a little bit lighter with taste, a little bit lighter on basically everything. The light wrappers or light tobacco with just everything more dulled down.
Okay. So Connecticut is also known as the Colero. So if you go out there, somebody's called it Colero, it's just a fancy name for Connecticut. All right. So when you see Connecticut, what it is actually a very young leaf, like not fully mature leaf that go through a very short amount of fermenting process or curing process.
Or toddler.
Yeah, so that's really on the most direct light that's on top. So it's not gonna be very flavorful, but from there you start to get a little bit of the fermentation magic, right? You start to get the toasted nuts, you start to get the creaminess, you start to get a little bit of those qualities to your typical tobacco, cedar, all that stuff, because they start to age it, they start to fermenting it, all that stuff. So it starts to sway away from the leafy taste, more to a woodsy taste. Okay, we're good? Mm-hmm. All right, the next one is what we talked about yesterday, natural. Well, it's not even yesterday, last episode, natural. So what do we know about natural?
Is it more... That's a good question. Hold on. Let me think about it. Pastor Rick, please.
Okay,
Jesus.
Rick, what do you know about natural?
I smoked a few. What the hell? I smoked a few naturals. Basically, it's become a little bit more potent when it comes to other elements, like with the nicotine, with taste notes. It's still smoother. It still has a sweetness side to it, but it's like a little bit of like extra dash compared to the Connecticut. That's what my take on it. Because a lot of padrones, like the ones I won from the prize was the naturals, and that one has a little bit more flavor notes compared to if it was a Connecticut.
Okay, so for a natural, which is called a Colorado Calero, all right, and that start when the color starts to darken, and not only the fermentation process is slightly longer, that leaf is now left to mature under the sun a lot longer than the Connecticut. All right, so at that point, the leaves start to develop more characteristics. It tends to have a little bit of pepperiness. It's more pungent. It's sharper. It starts to develop some sweetness towards the flavor itself. So it's not just woodsy now. You're actually it's like an alcohol. You start to age in a barrel. You start to have that quality that's developed from the leaf itself, aged a little longer. That's why they say it's natural, because they say that's closest to a natural leaf. Because if you just look at your backyard during the wintertime, when the leaf dries up, what color does that be? Similar to a natural color, right?
Sometimes I see Maduro.
So at that point, you start to get a cigar, right? Cigar. That's not like, it's like the leaf is matured, the fermentation process is done, and it's what they call it, like the most basic cigar. It's got the cigar quality, right? At that point, when you see a natural, it's like, okay, this is just a cigar. Okay?
Yeah, that's like the pinpoint of before the Candela.
Well, Connecticut.
Oh yeah, Connecticut.
Yeah, that's the convert over point, right? Because like the Connecticut is more like out of necessity, they came out with, okay, let's do a lighter cigar.
Yeah.
Right? From a natural, which is kind of standard, right? Before they magically do stuff on it.
You could call like Connecticut's are like underdeveloped, while natural is like it's the start of it being developed. And at that point on, it's when it's a little bit more overdone. Think about that steaks. Connecticut is probably like rare to rare, while natural is like medium.
Yep. So next one is Rosado. What do we know about Rosado?
That's a good question too. I don't really smoke a lot of Rosado. I think Rosado is like a more darker. It's more fermented. So basically a little bit more flavor. It is kept on the plant a little longer as well.
Rosado, or Rick, you got anything on it before I kind of give out the...
I'm not even too sure if I ever smoked a Rosado. But I would just think maybe it has a bit more pepper to it. That's when it starts to develop more of a punginess to it, or maybe a little bit more gritty, like earth. But I may have smoked a Rosado without me realizing.
But they rarely tell you that it's Rosado. That's the thing. A lot of times they will call it like the Connecticut Rosado or something like that, or a Habano Rosado. Or like, I've heard people say something like Ecuadorian Rosado or something like that. Okay. Now, Rosado is basically even longer natural maturing process. So they let it sit longer. Okay. It's basically half-ass Habano, if you think of it that way. It starts to turn red. It starts to turn red before it turns darker.
There's like a hue to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They call it Colorado, like a standard Colorado. So at that point, they removed the Calero word from there. It's called a Colorado. And at that point, it's basically a transition between natural to Maduro during the fermentation process. They just remove it before it became a actual Habano, right? So they remove from the process before it, but the leaf obviously sits there even longer under the shade, under the sunlight. And then the fermentation process, when it starts to change color to a little bit red, it adds a little bit more spiciness to it, but it doesn't have all the quality of Habano. So it's not as spicy, but it's spicier. Okay. It helps makes the natural a little bit more pungent, but not necessarily change it to a Habano category. Okay?
Yeah, I haven't.
For those people who doesn't know, Diamond Crown Maximus is a Rosado.
Because I was looking it up, and apparently as well as some of the Davidoff Nicaraguan are Rosados.
Also, Chili Mousse is also a Rosado. All right? So, if a Rosado is not like that hard to find, but they just don't heavily advertise it.
Yeah,
right?
Unfortunately, the Magnum is a Rosado. I remember that.
So the next category is Habano, which is like probably the most common cigar out there. Like, every brand has some sort of Habano.
Yeah.
Right? So
it brings more of a kick to it, more kick spice to it.
So let's start with Rick Habano. That you got to have something this time, right?
Of course. That's when a lot of the flavors and complexity starts to be introduced with the tobacco. Because obviously with Connecticut, it's whenever we get people who are brand new to the whole cigar community, typically we start them off with Connecticut's. And then once they understand the palate, they move on to the Habanos. And Habanos tend to have a little bit more flavors with maybe chocolate, with this, with that, with spice. And that's when you can start picking up things compared to the previous, the leaves. That's when you start actually opening up the gate and doors of complexities and what direction you might like into cigars.
Isn't a Habano like a hybrid as well?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Eric, go ahead and talk about what you know about Habano.
I know it's spicy and more earthy, but then this, I don't have much on it.
All right, so here's the misconception, confusion, use of words, annoyingness of this entire industry is that Habano, although used to describe color, it also describes Habano leaves. So it's a type of leaf versus a color, but we also describe that as a color. The other name for that is Colorado Maduro. Believe it or not, it's actually in the category of light Maduro. And at that point, it's fully kind of fermented. You can ferment it more, obviously, but it starts to have that fermenting, leathery, spicy, potent taste to it. And a lot of time, you got to see people say Habano, certain thing Habano, whatever Habano, including Habano 2000, which is hybrid.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But the sound of the Habano, when they describe Habano, is actually not Habano. It's describing the color. So how do you prevent that? You can't. Habano color range is so wide. Anything darker than a Rosado is a Habano, to the point of up to Maduro, obviously. And that shade is probably like 20 different shades. It depends on what the...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, because I do see like some Rosados that's darker than the Habano.
Yeah, and there is the Habano also, some of them uses dyed. So they put colors from tea, from coffee, from whatever natural agent that to change the color to a Habano, but that's actually not Habano. So there are some Habano which is very rare, but you will see some Habano that's not spicy. because they're not talking about Habano. They're talking about color. So it's one of those really annoying things that's because Habano is everywhere. Every cigar you out there, you probably find Habano somewhere. And it's just so often used that is a confusion between the name of the color and the name of the leaf, right? So that's one of those things. But Habano is very common, and 90% of the time, Habano is actually Habano. Rarely people will use that to describe color nowadays, because if they use Habano, it's Habano. You know, it's like there's no point to color that to that point anymore, unless they have other things that's adding the spice to it. But I think majority of the Habano are Habano, unless you talk about hybrids, color, tint, you know, other stuff that's making it looking like that. I don't think any of the people in the market does that nowadays. Majority of the time, Habano is Habano now. But you know, hybrids changes things. So
Yeah.
the next one is actually Maduro. So once we get to Maduro, now you're looking at some real cigars, right? I hate to say that, man, because you know, you think that the Habano should be the king of cigars, right? Every brand has a Habano of some sort, but Maduro is really where it's at. This is where you want to get to. You are working your way to make sure that you can handle all the nicotine so that you can start to enjoy those Maduro goodness, right? So let's start with Rick. What do you know about Maduro cigars?
Woo! Maduros, they pack a punch. That's when it's fermented the longest. And just like how with Habanos, sometimes they have different shades of, you know, Maduros as well. Some could be a little bit more darker, some could be a little bit more, and not light. But that's when you get that spicy bombs. That's when you get like sometimes a lot of chocolate, a lot of espresso. It's just bursting of flavors, and it's just more pungent.
Eric, what about you?
Well, Maduro it just stands for ripe, right? So it's the most ripe, longest fermented leaves. That's basically it. It just take a long time to ferment it, and just let it ripen, get all the oil out, get all the nicotine, and all of that. That's all I got from it.
All right. So the difference between the Habano and Maduro is that Maduro is actually aged. You have to age it until it gets darkened. So it's darkened, aged leaf, and majority of the time is from, you know, Nicaraguan tobacco. They love to age their tobacco that way. And you know, when you think about like Dominican tobacco, they tend to be not that dark. You know, they do make Maduros, but the most popular ones are the Nicaraguans, because when they age it, when they become a Maduro, now the chocolate starts to come out. Now the coffee starts to come out. Right? Now the char starts to come out. Now the earthiness, the sweet characteristic of it starts to come out. It's all because they aged it. Now it's like the difference between a clear tequila and an añejo tequila, right? You add color to it, you add age to it, you add fermentation, you add everything. That is the king of the beginning. I mean,
the literal translation of the word Maduro means mature.
Yeah. So it's aged. The difference is literally they aged that. Habano doesn't really have to go through age. Usually within a year it is done, right? And sometimes they do age it, they'll tell you age it, but when a lot of time when you gotta see something that's aged for extended of time, you're gonna find Nicaraguan, you're gonna find darker Maduro tobacco cigars. And that's the most flavorful. And obviously with the flavor comes with strength. So at that point, you're looking at a minimum of medium. You're gonna get the strength. You have no choice. At that time, they already been fermented, nicotine is already developed, everything's in there. I would think, think of it as drinking a 4-year-old to 8-year-old whiskey versus a 12-year-old, 18-year-old whiskey. You know, now it's pungent, now it's done, now it's mature, right? Yeah. And the next one, which I don't particularly like because the way it's described scares people, which is the Oscuro.
So
what do we know about Oscuro?
That's like another Maduro, right?
In a way.
It's more darker, right?
So what do you know
more
about
strong
other than it's darker?
I guess in a way, the nicotine levels is way more higher. Not way more higher, but a little bit more pungier. That's when, because it's more mature, I guess, in a sense, it's a little more intense. The intensity kind of goes up.
Okay. That's true. Eric, got anything to add?
Nope, bro.
All right. Oscuro is also known as a double Maduro. Okay, it's the darkest one. It's near black. Near black is the darkest color they have. Actually, I've heard people do like triple Maduro, but I don't think the color changes. That the shade of it is basically really, really dark. Maduro, you can describe it as like a chocolate color, almost like a dark chocolate color. Whereas Oscuro is just
the Oscuro is taken from the top of the plant, basically. It's almost like a ligero.
Ligero is portion of the leaf, whereas Oscuro is the color of the leaf. So Oscuro is basically left it to age even longer. So not just the fermenting process, but the leaf is also left to age it longer, fermenting longer, and they also fermentation process even longer, and to get that deeper color and more complex flavor. At the same time, that adds strength. But for some reason, some Oscuros are not strong because they went through the steaming process of something that removes a little bit of the nicotine. But it's so rare. It's so rare to find an Oscuro that doesn't have any strength, because it will do the cigar disservice to remove anything out of it, because all the flavor, all the dark complex taste, all the smokiness, all the fermenting taste, all the aged taste that you can taste from that particular cigar is being removed when you do that. The thing about the double Maduro is so that you know it's strong. You know all the flavor is dark and hard and full, right? Like that's when you're really talking about the body of the cigar. The body is being given as really full flavor, full fermented. Like they left nothing out. At that point, you already waited for the leaf to age. You waited for the fermentation. You waited to let the leaf sit and age, and you made the cigar and you let it age some more, right? So most cigars that are Oscuro is already like, we can't do anything else to it. It's already done.
Yeah.
Any older than that, it will go to heaven. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna go to heaven no matter what.
Right. Right. So yeah, there's not a lot of Oscuros out there, but when it's like Oscuro, usually it's their
Yeah, even like a Connecticut, like a really aged Connecticut broadleaf could be a Oscuro.
Yeah, we talk about color, right? So you know, it really is what you put it to it. You give it that color. You're making it that color. So you know, once you get darker, and also it's not just for the taste, also for the visual aspect of it, because at that point, the leaves start to get raw, it start to get oily, it start to get dark, and I don't know, it makes you feel like the cigar is tasty. Yeah.
Like when I first start off that cigar, the Onyx, it was a very dark, scary looking leaf, and I smoked it. I was like, it's not that scary. But it was a dark old leaf, man. Dang.
Well, it depends on what the filler and binder is, right?
Yeah.
They all contribute to something. So if you have a really dark leaf and then you feel something light in there, it kind of lowers it. But I think at the same time, it does some disservice for a cigar that you want to be serious cigar. You went through all that to give everything to the cigar, and then you remove some.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like getting a nice piece of filet mignon and you cooking water.
I was literally thinking about something like that. I was thinking about like you get a steak and you just have it in a barrel, just age it for like 20 days, and then right before you cook it, you dunk it in water. You let it sit in there for a little bit, and then you cook it. Like you just took all the flavoring on it and in it for no reason.
Right, you're supposed to sear that all the oil, everything. Like if you dry age a steak and then you just decide to go, you know what, I'm gonna boil that thing.
I mean, who boils steak? I mean, the thing is, like, you know, I know I eat steak like cooked, but I never boiled it. That's wow.
No, but that's the thing. I just gave you an example of what not to do. What not to do, right? There are some Asian dishes that boils beef before you cook it. So,
but
they're dunking hot sauce, so you're not gonna taste the beef anyway. You're just eating hot sauce.
Yeah,
so, it's one of those things. So yeah, we got through. So that basically is the category of all the leaf color. I mean that should. So we already tell you about the region on the previous episode, and that will tell you about the color of the leaves, and that should, that's majority of the decision that you had to make for cigars, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
When you go to the cigar region, color, you already got flavor, you already got intensity, all that stuff, halfway there. So what else do you think that a cigar buyer will have to consider when they're looking at a single cigar?
Taste notes. I guess that's the only next thing in my mind, because with the region, you could tell which region has a particular taste note you want. Then you have the aging process, which brings out the flavor out more. Now, when you discuss flavor notes, you can tell people this would be more dessert style, this would be more meaty, this would be more earthy. So that could be the next kind of stage you could kind of gear people towards, let them know what they want from their palate.
It's true, but what I'm looking at is before you get to smoke the cigar.
Okay, before. Okay.
I would say size.
Okay.
Size.
Yeah.
We touched upon size before too. I mean, in terms of by looking at the cigar, the size isn't gonna help you making that full decision, really, right? The size, majority of the time, you can only tell by how long can you smoke the cigar.
Yeah, how long?
Like roughly
can you
how
smoke it
long?
for? Yeah.
Right.
And usually,
So-
beginner, if you want, most people in the beginning don't sit for like an hour plus. They get bored or something like that. You know what I mean?
But let's be honest, right? A standard beginner cigar smoker will go to the shop to buy either a Robusto or a Toro. Surprisingly, all the other cigar is not on their first choice when they go to buy the cigar.
Which
right?
is true, because that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a cigar smoker, you go into the cigar shop, the first thing you buy was a Solomon. I'm sorry, you're definitely puking somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on like Solomon. I don't know. Sometimes it's lighter, right? Just
Yeah,
like,
that's still a lot of nicotine to take in. That's like 2+ hours. You're talking about getting bored out of 1 hour. You're smoking a Solomon, you're puking twice.
It's some Solomon is Dude,
Right.
even to this day that we look at Solomon, we're like, damn, we don't want to touch that shit.
Yeah, because there are some serious size, right? I don't know. Recently, I see a lot of Churchills.
Yeah, like Churchill, double Churchill, whatever. It's like, dude, what is going on with the Churchill size?
Right? It's if you want to say the perfect amount of time versus perfect amount of tobacco versus perfect transition, I think the name tells you, right? A perfecto is where it's at. But not every cigar makes perfectos.
Yeah, like there's not a lot of company make a lot of perfectos.
Yeah, because they're harder to roll. They're harder to roll. They're harder to blend because of the transitions, right? You got to get through from like 0 gauge all the way to 48, 52, and
Sometimes more.
right, and then it drops back down to maybe a 44 at the end of it, right? So it's the hardest to blend, but I really feel like they should make a lot of perfecto for beginners, because that's how you can tell how the taste difference is, right? You started out with such a small gauge, so if you were to choose something like a what is that called? What is small? I just draw a blank. All of a sudden. If you would, no.
Solomon or Sixto.
So if you start if you start off as a lower gauge, right, you can taste something like, if this cigar was a Corona size, what would it taste like, right? And as it works up, now you got to a gauge of
So you like more of a transition.
right, and you can say, okay, if this was Robusto, this would kind of taste like that. And then you get to all the tobacco. Now it's like, if this was a Toro, this would taste like that. And then it works its way back, right?
I never thought of like that. So
you kind of get 3 cigar in one in terms of the transitions,
True.
tobacco and stuff like that. And it's kind of like knobbing it too, right? Because that thing is not very long.
yeah, it's not. But man,
Right,
they should make more of that, because that cigar looked like it's old school to me. Like, to me, that shape, like it's old school gangster smoke those kind of shit.
And if you're someone that likes the higher gauge cigars, right, to start with, you will start something like a Shark.
The Shark.
Yeah, because the Shark starts at that gauge, at the middle size.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it doesn't
I
taper
see.
down, right? It's around the same length as a Perfecto.
Yeah, true.
right?
But dude,
Because you're not looking at.
You going to a shark? That's a harder cigar to find than
Yeah, that's even harder. And that's what I'm saying. They don't make a lot of those because they find and bring the best part of the cigar to you already. Like similar, like when you think about knob, right? A knob, they say that basically that's the best part of the cigar. So we cut the front. There's no more front. First third is gone. It's not there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So they give you the best part. And Perfecto is kind of like that. You get through the first part really quickly and get to the best part as the thickest part of the cigar.
Yeah, because usually sweet spot is the second, third.
Yeah. Because once you smoke something like a Pyramid or Bellicoso, you have to go through the entire cigar. Now you have a cigar, 5 by something, 6 by something. It's not, it's not a beginner friendly to try everything. Because you're technically smoking a Toro, right? And Robusto is like, Robusto standard smoking time is what? 45 minutes to 1 hour 15. Depends how fast you smoke.
Yeah, it depends how fast you smoke.
And if you're a beginner, you smoke it at 45, I'm sorry. You shouldn't, right? It should be an hour 15.
Damn,
for Robusto.
For Robusto?
You're talking about someone that smoked for how long? I'm talking about you as a beginner.
But Jesus, man. Damn. That's a long time for a Robusto. Like, you talking about Robusto Gordo or like...
No, I'm talking about Robusto.
Or just a Robusto, like a 5 by 50.
Yeah, as a beginner. I mean, if you are someone that smoked for a while, 45 minutes, that Robusto is gone.
It's gone. It's been gone.
Yeah. Right. In fact, for a average seasoned smoker, you can smoke a Toro hour of 20. Toro will be hour 20.
Dude, sometime I finish my Toro sometimes will make to an hour.
Oh, just think of it this way. Like our 2 hour show, I can smoke 3 cigars.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can if you chill with it.
Right. Our 2 hour show, I smoke 3 cigars.
Usually, oh yeah, you do go through it. Yes.
Right. So it depends on how seasoned you are smoking, how much nicotine can you take, and also the conversation that you're having, how often you're taking that puff.
Yeah.
Because I got to be very honest with you, the standard recommendation of taking 1 to 2 puffs per minute, that does not happen with me. Does not happen with me.
1 to 2 minutes, bro. Your cigar gonna be out most of the time when you pick it.
But that's the recommendation. I'm pretty sure if you go online, you gotta find out like how fast you should smoke a cigar. They will tell you. Usually you can smoke as much as you like, but recommendation is 1 to 2 puffs per minute.
1 to 2 puffs per minute. All right.
Okay. I was told 45 seconds to a minute.
All right, fine. Next time I do a 5-minute puff. How about that?
Yeah, your cigar will go out before that. Right? I mean, we're being honest here, right? I mean, just like how you smoke a cigar.
Yeah. It's all depend on the person that's smoking with the time wise and everything.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, definitely. So, and the speed that you're smoking it could also matter with the flavor.
Yes.
The faster you smoke, the less flavor you gotta get.
The more
for me,
charred.
For me, it's actually not the speed that I'm smoking that's fast. I tend to take double draw or triple draws, and that's what takes it.
I do double draw all the time. I do. I love doing double draw because I like to have the smoke output. So
double draw, you get the preheat, right? You get first you heat up the amber, and then the second draw will be a full burn, right? But if you take a single draw, unless it's a long draw, you're not gonna get the full burn. And in fact, you gotta get the center burn a lot more than the sides because you never got to the sides.
Yeah, I do long draw here and there, but the double puff is my thing.
Yeah, I like to double puff. And that's why we smoke through cigar a lot faster because you're doing 2 puff versus everybody's 1 puff.
You see Johnny sometimes? Johnny OCD, bro, he took like quadruple puff and the last puff is long as hell sometimes. I was like, boy.
Yeah, but that's when you hotbox your cigar though.
Yeah.
That's when you hotbox your cigar and those people don't know what it is. It's basically the ember is burning so hot inside. It's literally not just... Yeah, it's literally, you got to taste the burn. You got to taste the burn tobacco taste. You got to get that. And it's got to heat up a lot more, which kills the flavor. Mm-hmm. A good example is when you are at a restaurant, you walking by it, they're cooking stuff. And the clear smoke that you walk by, you can smell the scent of the food. It smells great.
Yeah.
But once they start burning the food and the smoke starts to turn gray and stuff, you go smell it. There's no food smell. Just all you smell is burn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the hotbox situation where all you got to taste is burn. You get some leftover note, but majority of the taste that you got to get is burn.
Like to me, I like, don't get hot smoke. Get the cool smoke. You know what I mean? If you start feeling you're smoking hot, chill on it.
No one likes a hot guy. No one
Yeah.
likes a hot guy. Everybody likes to love the cool guy.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure who it was. This is like years ago. My previous channel, and we interviewed somebody, and he was a cigarist, and he's been doing cigars for like 20 years. He was like, he recommended people to do 3 puffs. The first one just activates the ember. The second one makes it a little bit more burning, and then the last third intensifies everything. He says, just make sure it's 3 quick. Not you hold it for like 5 seconds, and then you do another 5 seconds, and do another 5 seconds. He's like, just do 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. That third one, you get a lot more.
Yeah, I don't particularly do the third draw because I find that my third draw always gives me that little bit of burnt taste.
Yeah, it's
I
getting
don't like
charred. It's getting charred.
That's what I say. The 3 would be very short. Just 1, 2, 3, and then that's what I was told. This is years ago.
I'll do 3 puff if I found that second puff did not burn. Like you can tell how much smoke went through.
Yeah.
Like if you find that it's not burning, you'll give a few more so that it heats up. And if it doesn't heat up, it's time to touch up your cigar. So.
Sometimes I do like 6 to get it going. I was like, come on, boy, burn.
Right. And like talk about this way, right? When you start up your cigar, when you light your cigar, the first 6, 7 puff is in a row. You gotta make sure that it's all heated. I tend to heat it up, take a draw, turn it around, take a look at it, and I blow air on it so I can tell which part is not burned. And I'll light it again, and I'll take another 3, 4 puff. You're 10 puff in already to start with. So it really depends how long you take the puff. So yeah, I mean, in terms of cigars, before you get to smoke the cigar, there's only so many choices, right? You get the color, you get the region, and it tell you what type of tobacco it is. You get the size, and then all you have is pick out price, right? And I hope that, from our previous episode, you can kind of gauge how the price is, the price structure, right? Because how the price is, I don't think this is any secret, right? It's triple keystone, right? So let's talk about that really quickly, because we are at the subject of talking about buying cigars. When you buy a cigar, you're into a triple keystone situation. Now, what does that mean? It means that the cigar's price has doubled 3 times. Cigar price has doubled 3 times. So the factory makes a cigar at one price. It sells to the brand. So for example, the Plasencia's farm sells to Plasencia. The cigar doubled 1 time. So the cigar itself might be $4, $5. Once you get to Plasencia company, the hands of Plasencia is $4, right? So you sell to Plasencia, the cigar company, at $8. That means Plasencia had to retail it and make money. And right, so sell it to Plasencia at $4. Plasencia had to sell it to the retailer at $8, right? And the retailer had to sell it to you for 16. 3 hands, 3 times. 4, 8, 16.
Mm-hmm. That's why, like, when you're a lounge owner or a place that sells cigars, is if you have a chance to cut off the middleman, you're pretty much golden.
You can't because from factory to brand to retailer, there's no cut in middle. You had to buy from the brand.
Mm-hmm. But like, does it count as like, then what's the wholesaler?
The wholesaler is people who buy cigar from the brand to sell it to company who does not have a contract or a account with the actual brand. For example, if I'm a cigar shop, I only want to carry so much cigars a year. I don't want to having to carry the entire full Davidoff lineup. Okay, but I want to sell some Davidoffs. So I go to the wholesaler to buy 2 or 3 boxes of Davidoff to sell. Those are wholesalers.
Yeah, but then sometimes wholesalers sell it for cheaper. They could get liquidation easier.
Well, the wholesaler buys them in bulk, right? So the wholesaler buys it in bulk and can sell it to anybody.
Yeah.
So it might sound cheaper, but it's actually not cheaper because now they're doing Keystone and a half, right? So they had to buy from Plasencia at $8. We talked about this, right? They bought it for $8, but instead of selling for 16, they sell it to the brand for 11. Let's say that's the case. Okay. So the store can actually sell it based on that 11 price range, but they know that they cannot double it. If they had to double it, it would be 22 instead of 18. It's harder to compete. So they might sell it at 19, or might sell it at 17. They will just add a little bit to it, but they make a much less profit, but at the same time, they don't have to carry that much inventory.
Yeah, they could get rid of it quickly.
and also they are not restricted by the rule of how much you can discount. For example, if it doesn't sell, I can sell it at cost.
Yeah.
Because you can't remove my account. I'm not buying it from you.
Mm-hmm. That's basically the same principle that Walmart uses. And what they do is they'll look at other stores, they'll see how much they get in quantities, and they will buy it triple or quadruple what most stores gets it. That's why you see at Walmart sometimes $2 or $3 cheaper, because they bought it in bulk. And if it doesn't sell, then they just go on their clearance rack for literally at cost.
Don't Walmart change the philosophy on that though?
What do you mean?
Because right now they basically sell shelf space. You know what I mean? They're not selling, they have their own product, but they're selling shelf space for other products.
Yes.
In the end, it's all about quantity, right? The more quantity you have, the things are cheaper. And for wholesalers, that they can buy a lot of them because they instead became a side distributor. They're not retailing it.
Okay, I see.
Walmart is all about volume.
But
so they could make their own version of it. And yes, they'll push their store brand version of it. They also want the shelf space. They also want the volume. They want the variety. So you guys are attracted to that. And that could also go for a lounge. Just like what Tony was saying, that like if I had a shop, if I don't want the whole catalog of Joystick or the whole catalog of Perdomo or the whole catalog of this, I just want to pick specific stuff. Now there's 4 people in between that instead of it being 3. If you go for the contract, you have to get the whole catalog, which that would just only be 3 hands.
Most brands only restrict retail prices. They don't restrict wholesale prices.
I see. All right.
Okay. So that makes it more room to wiggle, and for those people who cannot carry, for example, like my shop does not carry any opus, but I can go find a wholesaler to sell me a box of opus. So I have some opus.
Yeah. So that's when. Yeah. Good luck with that one, because that one's gonna be expensive.
It will be expensive, but like, for example, if my shop have people that only want to smoke opus and it's always buying from somewhere else, I can buy a box and leave it here for that kind of people, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference of why people use wholesalers. But yeah, you're going through a triple keystone process, and that's why some of the cigars some ridiculous price, right? Because technically they're not that expensive. But if you double it, the amount changes.
Wouldn't that be a better idea? Because to do wholesales on like rare cigars?
Well, just because you are a wholesaler, it does not mean that you can get those cigars.
Okay.
Right? A lot of wholesalers are actually shop owners that tend to wholesale their leftovers. For example, I would not be surprised if you tell me that Cigar International is actually a wholesaler as well.
I think they are, because they buy so much cigars.
Right. They buy so much cigar, they can sell it to small shops to carry that.
Yeah.
And to them, it's not competition, because the more the other people sell, the more they are making too. So they can order some large, stupid amount and at a low price.
Yeah, I could see that. If I was like a lounge owner, I would look around all the site to see like a really good deal. I would buy the crap out of it and put in my shop for like MSRP.
It would not make sense for you. It would not make sense.
If you, let's say the Oliva, right? Oliva Millennial, $18 cigar, right? You could go online to other like cigar place and buy for like, you could buy like 10 boxes for like $500, right?
Okay. But at the same time, if they can sell it to that means their account actually allow them to buy for much less. And a lot of time when you buy from an account, they give you a deal like if you buy 9 boxes, you get 10 boxes free. And that's how they're able to lower the price by giving the rest for free, basically. And you can't do that as a wholesaler. Wholesaler will not give you any of those deals. And you cannot get those deals by buying and resell them. Because when you buy and resell, it makes no sense, because not only you buying the cigar, you're paying tax on it, and you technically cannot even count it as inventory because you bought it as material.
Well, you bought it for inventory.
Yeah, but then you bought it from a actual retailer. So you're paying tax on it already.
Yeah.
So you're buying at a double price. Not only that, you're buying a double price, which is already been Keystone or whatever that profit is already made. You bring it to you and you try to sell it, you're not profiting, because obviously the person who's selling it already profit from it.
Well, yeah.
So you could have profited more.
But you still profit though.
Slightly, or maybe you're probably just breaking even.
Because okay, let's think about a example. If I bought 10 boxes of Oliva for $50 from the retailer, from the manufacturer, right? And I should do an easier number so that we can work that way. Let's say I bought $10 for $100, right?
Mm-hmm.
that means I had to sell it for 200. I can still make money by selling 150, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I sell it for 150. You think that's a good deal, right? Because you want to buy it off me and just sell it on your store, right? So if I sell it for 150, you already lost 50, plus the tax, plus the shipping and all that stuff. I say 175. You can only make 25 out of it. You're not really making money.
If you could sell it single, you make some.
No, you're not, because when you get inventory in that should worth 100, you end up having to sell 17 to start with, $18 to start with. You're already higher than anybody else. You already lost that $7 to start with.
I mean, I see that everywhere still. So, you know what I mean? Like,
you see that a lot of people are just like for the sake of having something to sell.
Yeah,
they want to jump on the bandwagon.
Like I see online, right? You could buy a bunch of these for this price, but in lounges, you could buy one for $18. You know what I mean?
Right. But then at the same time, they're selling that price because they have overhead. They're not really making money because now you have to pay store, you have to pay all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're not making money. Your expense trumps out that gain, per se. Right? A lot of people use it as promotion. For example, my shop might carry some cigars, but guess what? The wholesale has 20 boxes of Andalusian bowl. I'm going to buy those Andalusian bowl at, I don't know, $400 a box. Because now it's wholesale, it's hard to get, whatever. I don't have to have an account. They charge me $400 a box. Guess what? Now I just sell it for 48, right? So now I'm already more expensive than anybody else. I only get it for the sake of having it, so that people will come to my shop to get it. And I had to be one of those assholes that says, guess what? You can only buy one stick per person.
No.
Because I just went out of my way to get it. I need that to bring me as many customers as possible.
I would like sell a box and make the money.
No, because I'm not making the money. For selling it at 48, I'm not making the money.
No, I wouldn't sell it for 40. I would sell it for more.
Yeah, well, if you got to sell it for more, who's going to buy it now?
People. Andalusian bowl, people buy it.
You will buy an Andalusian bowl for $500 box? I'll sell you a box for $500 right now.
Well, bro, I see it online all the time.
Well, I'm just telling you, right? Those stores are doing that. I bought a Andalusian bowl from the store that nearby for $58, $48 a stick.
Damn.
A stick.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do
because
that.
they obviously got it from a wholesaler.
Yeah, but Jesus, I wouldn't even do that. Boy, you ballin'.
I bought a couple stick. I think Justin Wagner from the Legion also bought a couple stick when we were there. That was the time where you can't find any.
Dude, I'm looking at fucking like $30 stick. I'm thinking about it. Like,
Right, but at that time, they're doing it to attract people. Because they know that at that price range, you're not going to buy the box. You got to buy a stick.
Yeah, because there's no way. Why would you do that?
But if I can grab you into the store, you're not just going to buy one stick and go. You're going to buy a stick and something else.
You can buy something else with it.
So at that point, it's worth it because I got my money back and I got you to buy something else.
Yeah, when you do stuff like that, you're trying to get impulse buyers.
So
they see that and they don't want to grab something else with it. So you're looking for impulse.
Yeah, so that's what I meant when like you just grab like rare cigars.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're not really profiting for it. It's a gamble. If if I got a box of Lost City from a wholesaler, I'll be screwed. No one wants that box.
Yeah, because you get it everywhere.
Yeah, but then for me as a store, I don't have to carry that. But now I have a box of something that is deemed rare to some people. But that's a
attraction.
risk.
Is it risk? Is it attraction?
Okay, because I'm buying it at already triple Keystone plus then some, and I had to pay my overhead in the store, and I had to deal with that.
Yeah, I guess. But I wouldn't go for the Lost City if I were them.
Well, I'm just saying, it's an example,
It's
right?
an example.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
you're better off
You're
with just the
complaining right
contract.
now, but let's think of it this way, okay? A box of Placencia Atafal is $400.
Okay.
Right? How much are they selling at Miami? $75 a stick.
yes,
Yeah. So a lot of them probably got it from wholesale.
probably. Or they just greedy.
No, but then that's the thing. If I bought it from wholesales, I had to make some money. So if I'm buying in at $400 plus and then some and plus shipping, I have to sell it for more than that.
If I $400, I sell for $600 for a box.
Right. That's still good
That's
amount.
below MSR. Yeah, but that's below MSRP.
It's $400 box.
Yeah, so you bought it for $400, you sell the box for $600. That's below MSRP of that cigar. That cigar is $65, but you said you're selling it for $60.
How did I
Right.
get that for 400? Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I'm amazed with you, bro. Like, bro, that's exactly like, you know what I mean? Like that, you're still making so much more money with that box. I know you're using an example, but man, bro, you got a big ass deal on that one.
But think of this way, right? If the MSRP is 600, if you had an account, it only costs you 300.
Mm-hmm.
So selling one box will have make you $300.
Yeah, probably. But then I see there's a shop that sell for $900 for the box. So
Right. And those people, because they bought it from wholesale, they don't have that many boxes. They have no choice, right? But if you had an account, you make $300 per box, not $70 per box, not $80 per box, $300 per box.
You have way more net positive than you have either net zero or slight profit.
Right, and we don't even know how much those wholesale sells, but wholesale definitely sells for more expensive than account, for sure.
Yeah.
And you get more benefit with the account. Having an account also makes deals that have events. Events gets a different deal, swag and all that stuff, promotion, all for free, right? So, having an account has a benefit. And you only get it from wholesale because you can't get that account. You can't afford to get an account, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Because
A shop I used to go to that had that with General Cigars. When they started, General Cigars like, hey, you're a new shop. You open an account with us. We're going to fill your humidor until you get other accounts. And I think they gave them almost like 100 boxes, but they just required them to pay for like 40 boxes. The other 60 boxes were on them. If you went through a wholesaler, you would have to buy all 100 boxes. But because of that contract, they helped them out. He profited a lot after he sold basically most of all those. But he would have not gotten that if he went through a wholesaler. But because of the account, they gave him an amazing deal.
Yeah, and then on top of that, that means they can do sampler pack and stuff like that for some stupid price because General Cigar don't care how much you discount the cigar.
Yeah, General Cigar don't give a damn.
Right, so you can be like, buy 10 cigars for $40. That sounds like a pretty good deal. I would do
that's
it.
That's a good ass deal. You know what I mean? Like,
On top of that, you build relationship with the company itself instead of just a third party.
Yeah.
With you getting business and personal relationships with them, and down the line, we had an extra box, we'll throw it to you, or just maybe a little bit less in cost.
Right.
It was better go through the actual contract than a wholesaler.
I don't know. Never thought about that. So I thought like if you do like wholesaler, you don't have to contract with anybody. You just set your price. You buy whatever you want.
I mean, you could do that, but like you're not going to be doing a lot of profits. You're either doing risks or you're just positive slightly.
I would buy all the opuses and just put it there.
But that should tell you, I mean, with that information in mind, right? That should tell you that when you look at a cigar, that cigar is worth half the price, actuality, to start with. So when you see $100 cigar, that's actually a $50 cigar. So keep that in mind before you buy it. Do I want to pay $100?
I mean, technically speaking, you said it's a 3-part. So it may actually be a third of that. So the $100 cigar may be
No, because you definitely have to understand between a manufacturer to a distributor, there is costs, right? So you got to understand why they doubled it. And when they doubled the first time, it's not that much, right? It makes sense, right? Packaging, shipping, import, all that stuff is all through the distributor, right?
Yeah.
So you got to pay all that, which makes sense. I can understand a cigar got to the first point, right? The first two keystone makes perfect sense, right? That's why I said a $100 cigar is actually $50 because the incurred cost of it. So when I look at a cigar, I automatically give $6 to any cigar. Minus one. There's one cigar I didn't even give $6. But all the other cigars, you got to see it at $6 because I think that's how much it costs to even get out of the factory to start with.
When I look at cigar, I don't look at dollar. I was like, that's a nice cigar.
Yeah, but then I'm saying that in when you are evaluating a cigar that you want to buy.
Yeah.
Right? So think of it as half the price first. And then from there, is it worth more? Worth less? How much more can it go towards that actual retail price? That's where you're seeing. So when I smoke a cigar, obviously, before you even smoke a cigar, the presentation should worth at least before the keystone. So if you look at a $100 cigar, it should have at least $50 presentation.
Or more. I hope for more.
Right? If you don't see that, that cigar will have good chance of disappointing you.
Hey, there could be a gem.
It could. I'm just saying high chance. I'm not saying like absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Because there are some cigars that just taste good but looks like shit.
Yep.
For example, Patron. They look like shit.
They look like crap.
Right? But like all the Patron looks the same. Right? One single band, everything else the same. But that's where how I consider it before I buy it. So I look at the cigar. does that attract me enough to be half price of that cigar? When I look at a $20 cigar, does that look at least like a $10 cigar? If it is, then I'll give a gamble.
The thing is, like, I don't look at it like that though. Like, I look at I just look at it look nice. I should start doing that. Like, hey, does that worth it? My $20 or $10? You know, like,
and $10 is not hard to get to, right? If you think about it, a cigar is not hard. Like, if I already get the fact that it's even a cigar is already worth $6 with presentation. Can it at least $10?
Yeah, $10 is not that hard. Yeah, you're right. It's $4 more. Put some work in it,
right? Like, you put a band on it. There you go. Now it's $8. All right, it doesn't look like it's cracked and dry like shit. Okay, that's $10 looking.
Yeah,
right. It's not that hard to get there. So at that point, you already got to $10, right? That means this cigar could be $20.
Yeah,
and I'll be fine with that. Right. So that's how I gauge it. This is why I don't like to buy Padron, because all the Padron is like, $20, $30, $50. I look at it, they all look the same. They all look like $8 cigars.
Yep.
There's no way to judge it.
It smoked well. It smoked well, man.
Right? Because when I go look at a Davidoff, the moment I see a Davidoff band, okay, it's $18.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you won't get plugged Padron.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know, man. I haven't had a plug
Very
Padron.
rare, but you can.
I don't get it. But you can. I haven't yet. I smoke quite a bit, man. Fucking Padron is always on point with a draw.
One day you gotta see me doing a review pull a freaking tree out of it.
I think which one too that would give you a problem? I think it would be the Figurado, the taper. That would give you like the 80th one.
It's possible. I wouldn't say impossible to get bad draw for any cigar. It's man-made, right? Just had one person who's rolling and had a bad day, didn't get laid for 3 months. Yeah, they might roll something really tough. True. Right? So I would. And then person who's checking it, like that day his fingers numb or whatever, by doing something too much Vaseline, and then just press it. It's like, oh, that's fine. But, no. You don't know. So, if you think about all that, I think we give from the beginning to the end how to look at and purchase your cigar by looking at it. Taste notes, everything is otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Like what, because every cigars are different. I should say this, every cigar is the same but different.
Yep. That's a good way to say it.
Right? There's only so many combinations to a cigar, and you're just buying a different combination of the same thing.
Hey, man, there's some people that think it's endless.
Mathematically, you'll say the answer is no.
There's no way. Come on, think about it, people. All right, there's no way.
I mean, what? Okay, this cigar is aged a day or two more than the other one. Okay, that's different now.
That's different now.
It's not endless, but it's a big number. But
they've been trying different ways, right? Especially with the aromatics and stuff like that. They are trying different ways.
Yeah,
because they're running out of combinations.
They are. They really are. Now they're just gonna, people start using pipe tobacco.
And they also start to bring different region tobacco to grow a different region again. Like, for example, there's some like Honduras tobacco being grown and Nicaraguan and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably give they're trying to give Honduras more of an oomph to it.
I think they found that more and more cigars use Honduras tobacco is giving that sweetness that people like. And then they're like, okay, what can we do with that? Can we make it more pungent and really learn how to give that sweetness to other cigars or something like that. I don't know. They always have to find a way.
If they could take that sweetness and leave everything else, it could be something, man.
I don't know. Maybe in the next 10 years, they're probably team with Elon Musk, get some Mars grown tobacco. It'll take 10 years for it to get to Mars.
I don't want to smoke a radiation cigar.
And you'll automatically be 25-year aged tobacco. So like by the time you smoke it, you're halfway through your midlife crisis. You're like, yeah, I finally got to smoke this.
Like, I'm dead.
It's your bucket list. I want to smoke a Martian cigar.
Jesus, man.
Tesla cigar.
Dude, just imagine the soil though, right?
That soil is going to be so mineral rich. Dude.
It's gonna be like the Amazon basin times like 3,000.
It's gonna freaking take you forever to age that thing out.
It's gonna be so harsh because the environment's so harsh.
Yeah,
right. So you gotta have a cigar where you took a 2 puff and you just die. You're like too much nicotine, die. Oh man. All right. So I think we cover the information that we want to cover today. So that's the last part. We touch upon sizes, we touch upon the color. Other episode we touch about the region, and now we also touch upon the pricing. I think that's pretty much what you need to buy cigars.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to know what other people want to know. Like, when you guys listen to these podcasts, give us our ideas of what you want to know, because a lot of time to us that might be a knowledge that we just think it is what it is. Like, you don't think about it, right? Do you, like, when you eat rice, do you think about how rice is made and what, like, any question about rice? You don't. You just like, oh, that's rice. Tastes like rice. Looks like rice. Smells like rice. Holy shit, it's rice. But, you don't think about anything else on that. But some people might be like, I want to know why rice is white.
Oh, damn. Because white is right.
and then when you ask that question, I'm gonna go, rice comes in purple, comes in brown, comes in red, but we don't think about it. We think that's normal. Rice comes in that color,
true.
It's normal.
That's true.
So
we've been smoking cigars for so long.
I need people to give us, what else do you want to know about cigars? Anything. If it's something that we have knowledge of, we can talk about it, right?
Yep.
And obviously we don't, then we look it up, and now we're talking about it.
So we just fake it until we make it.
Yeah, we will fake it until we make it, right? So that will be it for this episode. And I think, like I said, if you guys have any ideas, put in the comments. We'll read the comments. We'll figure out what we can talk about.
Yes,
and
I read every comment. It'd be great to you guys to see what your input and what you guys would love to know, and we would work on that. And
yeah. And if we don't know, we'll find somebody that knows, and we can talk about it. Definitely not gonna be Rick. So, but we'll find it.
Okay.
The only reason I bring Rick here so that I can give him a hard time. So, what do you know about it, Rick? And he'll be like, no.
Yeah,
no.
I'm the middleman of the people who are just basically the kind of rookie-ish intermediates. Like, I'm getting to the next step.
What are you talking about?
That helps me. That helps me. No, that helps me to know what you guys don't know, so I can give that information. For example, you didn't know that it only takes 3 days to do Candelas.
No, I didn't know that shit.
I thought they were grown in Canada.
You wanted to say that so bad.
Yeah, I did. Oh my god.
Right? But hearing you, which is, I would say, still very early on in the years of cigar industry knowledge, then hear Eric, which is, I would say, it's pretty seasoned, then tells me what other information I can add in there that wasn't covered, right? Mm-hmm. And so I go through you two so that it helps me to kind of, okay, here's the information that we can talk about and give that more. And different level tend to do that. I'm not saying that I'm the highest level. I'm just saying that it helps me to add information. There's stuff I don't know. So
Tony going to be a tobacco doctor after all this.
No, not gonna happen. Yeah,
Dr. Soy Sauce.
Yeah. Oh, we want to talk about soy sauce? We can go all year.
Yep. Soy sauce assassin PhD. MD.
According to my trademark, I can't take soy sauce. That's tough. King Kong Man will coming out of my ass, Yeah. So, yeah, that will be it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, we'll have a better topic. If you have any topic information, put it in the comment, let us know, and we'll see you guys next one. Bye, guys.
Peace.
You've been listening to the In the Shadows podcast. There's nothing like a fine cigar, and that's our passion. And on the show, we'll talk about everything and anything cigars. And you know what happens when you get a bunch of guys together smoking cigars. The conversations go on. And that is what this show is all about. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Remember, everything you need is on YouTube at Soy Sauce Assassin. The live show is every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And get cigar reviews. Wishing you long ashes. We'll see you next time on In the Shadows podcast.